This is Athlete Beyond for the ones chasing the dream, living it, or learning how they are after it. From college to pro to what's next, these are the stories behind the stats and the strength beyond the sport. My name is Lene Harper, and this podcast will not only tell my story, but the story of the 99%, the majority of athletes chasing their dreams and aiming for success. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Athlete Beyond Podcast. Now, let me just start out by saying this. This is not just any ordinary podcast, but this podcast is about the 99% of athletes who struggle making it to the top. No matter if you're a collegiate athlete, professional athlete, or just retired, we all have one thing in common, and that is being overlooked despite our greatness. Y'all, I'm so excited to finally launch this series because we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of the real world behind sports. Many of y'all watching this episode are more than likely trying to figure out what to do next in life. Whether you're stepping into the collegiate world, professional sports, or beyond, if you feel like this show will help you in any way, please like, comment, and subscribe. Now, we all know everyone is hyped about the bright lights, the contracts, and the fame. But what no one truly talks about is the real transition that's going on inside of you. So today, I'm going to pull back the curtain on the emotional and mental shifts that hit you when you are transitioning into the new world beyond sports. All right, y'all, now let me guess. You went from sold out arenas, signing autographs, having endorsement deals, having your full support from your team and your coaches, to suddenly nothing. No coach yelling at the sidelines, no teammates hyping you up, maybe no money coming in. It's just you and the game that you love. Everyone sees the fame, but no one warns you about the identity gap. Now, I'll tell you about my story. 7 years ago, I graduated from The Ohio State University, and throughout my career, I had accomplished so much, y'all, from being named a McDonald's All-American to WBCA All-American. I was named top 5 Heisman Player nominee. I was representing Team USA, having gold medals. I mean, you name it. I made a name for myself as a tough, gritty athlete that could do a little bit of everything. And from starting my collegiate career at the University of Kentucky, earning SEC honors and being known as one of the best rebounding guards of all time, to then transferring to Ohio State and winning 2 back-to-back Big Ten championships. I had all Big Ten honors. I was named 6th Player of the Year in school history and still representing Team USA. Y'all, I just knew once graduating that I would be drafted into the WNBA. I told myself, I might not be in the first round, but I'll certainly be named in at least one of those 36 spots. I sat on the couch with my family. I'm watching my name pop up as next best available. I was anxiously thinking like, man, my life is about to change forever. And in fact, it did. Before you know it, the 2018 WNBA draft was over and my name was not called. I thought to myself, like, man, I did everything right, accomplished every goal, and it still wasn't enough. All of the sacrifices I've made, the sleepless nights, I didn't have a plan B. Well, I had a degree, and so I knew that I could fall back on that if anything else. But something in my gut just continued to tell me not to give up. Well, that's exactly the same thing that happened to me. I went from playing in front of thousands of fans, signing autographs, playing my best basketball, to pure silence. I felt like I had no one to call on to rescue me. I had no one there to help pick me up and sell me another fairy tale dream. At this very moment is when I realized that life doesn't always go as planned. There are thousands of athletes dealing with this exact same situation. So if you're listening to this right now and feel the exact same way, you are 100% right for feeling a little bit lost. So y'all, I had 2 options. I could have gave up and put the basketball down and just got a job. I could have blamed everyone else but myself, or looked in the mirror and held myself accountable for my journey. I went back to the one thing I knew, and that was the gym. I continued to put the work in and day out. And through that process, I had to be real with myself and notice the things that I needed to get better at. Y'all, it's easy to point the finger, right? And I could have did that myself. But I had to look at all the things I needed to do to get better. I needed to be a better 3-point shooter. I needed to be a better point guard. I needed to eat better. Now, of course, none of that takes away the fact that I still should have been drafted. Like, it was no way. But I needed to tell myself that to be undeniably great. And while training, I received a training camp contract from the Chicago Sky. I thought to myself, man, it will feel amazing to play for my hometown. And so when I accepted the offer, I got to training camp and I realized that it was 6 guards fighting for one spot. And I just knew I had to be different. And for those of you who don't know, back then in the WNBA, you had 12 teams, each with only 12 players per team. That's only 144 athletes. And I was literally fighting for that last spot, that 144th spot. On the last day of training camp, I was called into the office full of emotions. I was told that I had made the team. I was so lost for words. I just couldn't believe it. And just to think that I was so close to giving up 2 weeks prior to, and now 2 weeks later, I'm living out my dream. As they say, talent is universal, but opportunities are not. And to think that I was just once a young girl from the south side of Chicago to now being a professional athlete playing in my hometown was a dream come true. They say 99% of athletes never get the opportunity to play at the professional level. And while that may be true, there are so many other ways to be successful through sports. Now, I say this not to discourage you at all, but rather motivation to chase your dreams while also doing the work to understand that you will be successful either way. If you feel like you've ever experienced this or currently experienced this, this is now a few ways to help you get through this feeling. The first thing that you have to do is build you a new team. Your old college crew may not be around. Your coaches are gone. But now it's time to gain a new circle. Surround yourself around friends, mentors, and coaches who understand your story. And most importantly, understand the grind to becoming a pro. Next, create a routine. Create a routine that works specifically for you. Yeah, you may not have a schedule planned out for you, but now it's time to do it for yourself. What's most important during this time is structure. Find time to train, find time to rest, and set in your own mental check-ins. Most importantly, find out who you are beyond sports. While going through this process, the constant thing that should always be on the back of your mind is to give yourself grace. Y'all, this transition is real, and it takes time. You will stumble. You may fall, but make sure that you always get up. And lastly, embrace every no. Don't ever be afraid to talk about your struggles and failures. It's all a part of the game. The best of the best, the athletes that you idolize, they all have struggled in some parts throughout their journey. So if you have someone that you trust, whether a friend, a therapist, a coach, you name it, release those feelings from within. It's important to let it out rather than hold it in because that will truly affect your journey. Now, I didn't get drafted because I wasn't talented enough. I didn't get drafted because life doesn't always follow the script. And even if you do everything right, it still may not play out the way you want it to. Everything might play out in a different way. I know it did for me. Sacrificing everything you can for something you love doesn't mean that you don't deserve it. Nothing in life is guaranteed, but if you play your cards right, you'll always end up on top. Through this process, I had to be honest with myself, and no one could have changed that outcome but me. Even when I felt like no one was watching, there's always someone in the fields paying attention. So always have the mindset of no draft pick, no problem. You don't need a headline to have a career. All you need is heart, determination, and unwavering faith. Now I'm going to keep it a buck with you. A lot of athletes are either graduating or will be soon, or athletes are now playing pro or just got cut. You feel like you've hit a wall, not because your passion is gone, but because the resources are. You don't have no more access to the weight rooms, the gyms, the hot tub, or the cold tub. Again, just you and maybe a little money. So now the question becomes, how do you keep getting better when you feel like you have nothing to work with? We'll break down a few options for you now. First things first, training. Don't ever underestimate the power of free access. Bodyweight training is very powerful and can be very useful. Public spaces. Talk to your old high school coach, a local park district. Do everything you can to get a workout in. And for strength and conditioning, you can always work out at home. The goal is not perfection, it's consistency. Next, recovery. You don't need a training staff to take care of your body. All you need is a few essential recovery tools in your home. You can go on Amazon and purchase a foam roller and a lacrosse ball for super cheap. And you can also purchase some ice from a gas station for a cold tub. Even if you don't have a tub, buy a bucket. If you still may not have any money, y'all build your brand anyway. Talk to a trainer. See if you can help out in some sessions in exchange for free workouts. Use YouTube. Find your own workouts. There is always a solution and could be cheaper. So I'll leave you with this. When the system drops you, you either fold or create your own. Now, the game has changed so much, and a lot of collegiate athletes and professional athletes are signing major deals. But remember, y'all, that money will come and go. And as far as for professional athletes who may be struggling financially, never let that discourage you from chasing your dreams. If you're going through this feeling right now, know that it doesn't matter where you start, nor does it matter where you finish. But as long as you're competing every single day to be better, you'll always end up on top. Y'all, thanks so much for tuning into Athlete Beyond. I truly, truly appreciate the support, but I do need a favor. If you or anyone you know could benefit from Athlete Beyond, please share, comment, like, and subscribe. Your voice matters. Thanks again. See y'all next time.